Would like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Today is Thursday, February 10th, 2011. We're here in the offices of Attorney J. Wyndal Gordon, the Warrior Lawyer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Good afternoon, Donnie Glover.
Good. What's on your itinerary for today?
Well, Donnie Glover, I just received news today that there's a proposed legislation that's been proposed in the Senate, Senate Bill 239. I'm very concerned about it. It deals with being in possession of a loaded handgun and enhanced penalties. And the reason why I'm concerned about this bill is because it takes discretion away from the trial court. And it gives that discretion that's been transferred from the trial court to the prosecutor's office. If you're caught in the state of Maryland, according to this bill, if it's passed, if you're caught in the state of Maryland being in possession of a loaded handgun, then you're looking at a mandatory minimum sentence of 18 months. The court cannot issue probation before judgment. You cannot have the sentence reduced through parole and probation. You have to do 18 months. Now, why is this a problem? Because there's two types of possession. There's constructive possession, and then there's direct or actual possession. Being in actual possession means that you're in possession, that is, you have a handgun in your hand. Constructive possession means you have dominion and control over a handgun. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you're in an automobile as a passenger and the driver has a handgun in the car, you could be charged with possession of a handgun just as easily as the driver can be charged with possession of a handgun. You might not even know that there's a handgun in the car, but all of a sudden you could be a hard-working individual. You could have wife, kids, be the only breadwinner in your family, and all of a sudden you're looking at a mandatory minimum sentence of 18 months if you're found guilty of being in constructive possession. So this is a very dangerous law. Anytime you have mandatory minimum sentences, it takes the discretion of sentencing away from the trial judge and gives it to the prosecutor, because the prosecutor can easily dismiss the charge. But once the charge is prosecuted and there's a conviction, you're looking at a mandatory minimum sentence. It doesn't matter if this is your first offense or your 50th offense. Doesn't matter if you had a spectacular or clean record all your life. And what is really interesting about this particular Senate bill, because we all heard that Ed Hale, the CEO for First Mariner Bank, was just received a citation and was recently charged with possession of a loaded handgun. Apparently he was trying to get this loaded handgun on an airplane. Now, whether he knew the handgun was in his carry-on bag or not, he could have had the handgun in his carry-on bag a long time ago and just forgot it was in there. Under this law, Ed Hale, the CEO of First Mariner Bank, would be looking at 18 months, an 18-month sentence without the possibility of parole, without the benefit of probation before judgment. And if he's never been in trouble with the law before, he'd do 18 months either locally in central bookings, or he'd do it out in Jessup or Hagerstown or some of our other penitentiaries. So this is a bad bill. I don't know who thought of it, but we really need
Well, we do know who at least
we
proposed it,
we know who
right?
proposed it. Apparently, Senator Verna Jones Rodwell proposed this bill, but it's a bad bill, and it would disparately affect, I believe, African Americans, because under the circumstances, you know what? It'll affect anyone who's in possession of a handgun, whether you're out in Gary.
Ed Hale's a white guy who owns a bank.
He owns a very big bank here in Baltimore, and under this bill, he'd be doing 18 months. Unless they decided to, like Bernstein, would do a Bernstein and drop the serious handgun charge and give him a deadly weapon charge as opposed to a handgun charge. And I believe that that's one of the things we will see to allow those people who make big political contributions to the state's attorney's office. We'll see them benefiting from that type of selective prosecution, whereas they would ordinarily be charged with a handgun violation. That handgun violation would be dismissed because it comes with a mandatory minimum, and they would be charged with something like deadly weapon, possession of a deadly weapon. It's just a bad bill. It's a bad law, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help reduce crime at all. All it does is destroy families.
What can the community do?
I think we can write Senator Verna Jones with regard to this bill. We can mobilize on next Tuesday. We expect to have a press conference in Annapolis to decry this bill as being unhelpful in reducing crime in the city, and basically denouncing this bill. It'll be next Tuesday
February 15th.
in Annapolis.
What time?
We expect it to be around 2 o'clock. We don't know where yet. We're trying to put everything together. But this is a very, very dangerous bill. Anytime a judge cannot determine the sentence of an individual who's been convicted in this court, it's dangerous. Because
Anytime a judge can determine?
cannot.
Determine.
This bill takes discretion away from the judge. That is, if you're convicted in his court for this crime, the judge has to give you 18 months. Ordinarily, the judge would consider any mitigating circumstances, your family background, your ties to the community.
This is 18 months for anyone.
18 months for anyone, whether you knew the gun was in the car or not. If you get convicted, even if your defense is, I didn't know it was in the car, or the gun was in the car for the last 2.5 years, I never drive this car, or my uncle gave me his car so I can run to the airport and pick up my wife or my children. It doesn't matter if a gun is in your possession, whether it's actual possession or constructive possession. You gone. 18 months.
Thank you, Counselor Attorney J. Wyndal Gordon, the
Thank you.
Warrior Lawyer. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.